Welcome back. Bottom of the eighth inning. The Airhogs are up 3-1 on the Laredo Lemurs here at Unitrade Stadium in Laredo, Texas. Third pitcher in the game for the Airhogs out of the pen, Tyrell Harris, making his 24th appearance in an Airhogs uniform. 27 2/3 innings pitched, 3.90 ERA, record of 4-3. Comes in relief of Brett Wallach, who pitched a full inning, only allowing one hit and also got a strikeout in a scoreless seventh. Harris, the setup man, as he has emerged on this team for Dakota Watts, the closer. And Harris has been very reliable in that setup man role. He is the oldest member of the pitching staff at 27 years old. Other guys are 27, but Harris is the only guy on the pitching staff that was born before 1987. First batter he faces is John Alonso. In the dirt once again, and it's ball one. Alonso led off the sixth inning with a double and has scored the only run of the game for Laredo so far. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Harris winds up and now delivers the 1-0 pitch. That is called strike one on the outside corner. Alonso came into tonight's game with a batting average of .355. Now here is the windup and the 1-1. That is just low under the check swing from Alonso, who will be followed by J.P. Ramirez and Devin Goodwin in the lineup for Laredo. The 4, 5, 6 hitters due up in this bottom of the eighth against Tyrell Harris. Here's the windup and the 2-1 pitch. That's low in the dirt again, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike. Harris started out this season with the Bridgeport Bluefish in the Atlantic League, native of Compton, California. Not listed as a veteran on the roster, but definitely serves as a veteran on the pitching staff for the Airhogs as the 3-1 pitch comes to Alonso. Popped high in the air on the left side. Nieves chasing from left field. It will go out of play. And the count now full against John Alonso. J.P. Ramirez on deck. 2-run lead for the Airhogs in the bottom of the eighth inning. They can take the season series lead against Laredo with a win tonight. Right now, it's tied at 7 games apiece in the 15th meeting between these two this year. Harris winds up and now delivers to John Alonso. The payoff pitch is bounce foul down the third base line. Alonso, the first baseman, batting in the cleanup hole, has 15 home runs and 52 runs driven in this year. Second season with Laredo. Last year he hit 300 with the team. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. Bounced on the ground, through the hole between third and short and into left field. A leadoff base hit once again for Alonso, this time in the eighth inning. And that'll bring up J.P. Ramirez. Ramirez is 1 for 3 tonight with a single in the second inning. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. As Harris allows a base runner to lead things off in the eighth inning against Laredo. Harris now set and now delivers to Ramirez. That's called strike one on the outside, or the inside edge, I should say. Ramirez is from Aransas Pass, Texas. He's 24 years old. Last season played for the Sioux Falls Canaries. Runner on first, nobody out. The 0-1 pitch swung on and missed. A nice changeup there from Harris to sneak it under the swing of J.P. Ramirez, and it's 0-2 the count with Devin Goodwin on deck. Airhogs being out hit 9-7, but they're outscoring Laredo 3-1. The 1-1, the 0-2 pitch on the way, and it's swung on and missed by Ramirez, and he will sit down on strikes. 1 down in the eighth. Some more scores around the American Association, finishing up your out-of-town scoreboard from earlier on in this eighth inning. Some scores that are going on right now. Bottom of the eighth inning, Amarillo has a 6-4 lead at home over the Kansas City T-Bones. Extra innings in Sioux Falls, tied at 6 between the Canaries and the New Jersey Jackals of the Can-Am League, another interleague matchup there. And top of the 8th inning, the Sioux City Explorers leading on the road against Gary South Shore Railcats 4-2. Called strike one on a breaking pitch from Harris to the next batter, Devin Goodwin, who grabbed an RBI infield single in the 6th inning to go 1 for 3 tonight. Infielders in double play depth for the Airhogs with 1 out and a man on first. The pitch from Harris is swung on and foul tipped into the mitt of Brian Peterson. 0-2 the count. Laredo currently has the lead in the wild card with a record of 46-33 on the year. Second place in the South, 9.5 behind the Wichita Wingnuts, so it's looking like the wild card will be their most likely shot of making the playoffs, as they do have the lead over the other non-division leaders in this league. The pitch is outside to Goodwin that time, 1-2. The Airhogs, meanwhile, are 10 back of Laredo at 36-43 on the year. But a win here would be nice to try and close that gap. Stepping off the rubber is Tyrell Harris. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Devin Goodwin. 1 out and a man on first. Bottom of the 8th inning. 1-2 pitch on the way to Goodwin, and it's outside again from Harris. And now that'll draw Peterson from behind the plate to go out to the mound to talk with him. Laredo on a 4-game winning streak after sweeping the Kansas City T-Bones in a 4-game set here earlier last weekend. Went 3-2 against the Airhogs in what was really a 4-game set, but plus a resumed game from May 25th. Airhogs won all 3 of those wins in walk-off fashion against Laredo last week. Four and 5 overall were the Airhogs on their last homestand, and now opening up a 6-game road trip here against Laredo. The 2-2 pitch to Goodwin is behind Brian Peterson into the backstop, and taking second base is Alonso on the wild pitch. Now it's a full count to Goodwin, the shortstop, with Byron Wiley on deck. And now a runner in scoring position. The shift now is on for Grand Prairie as the middle infielders go to their normal depth against Devin Goodwin. No more double play. Harris now set for the payoff pitch to Devin Goodwin. Here it comes. Popped foul over the screen this time, and it's still 3-2. Grand Prairie, after this series, will travel to Wichita for a weekend 3-game set with the Wingnuts, who lead the South Division as well as the league in a landslide right now, 56-24 this season, a 70% winning percentage for the Wichita Wingnuts in the South Division. Harris with the 3-2 pitch. That's bounced on the ground, foul down the third base line. Matthew Burns not able to get to it. Still 3-2 to Devin Goodwin, who now has 56 runs driven in on the season. He was the All-Star MVP on July 29th, going 2 for 5 in the game with a double and a home run. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Runner on second, 1 out, bottom of the 8th inning. Here comes the pitch from Harris. Popped foul once again over the roof here at Unitrade Stadium. Still 3-2 the count to Devin Goodwin. 3-1 lead for the Airhogs here in the bottom of the 8th. Trying to open up this road trip with a victory after avoiding the series sweep at home against the Amarillo Sox on Sunday. Losing that series 3-4. Here comes the payoff pitch once again from Harris. Low to Goodwin, and it's ball 4. So another base runner allowed by Harris. That puts runners at first and second base with only 1 out in the bottom of the 8th inning. Eric Champion out from the dugout. As I try to look into the Airhogs bullpen in the left field corner, it appears that there is some action going on. I can't tell who is warming up. but someone appears to be throwing some pitches. Looks to be a right-hander. As Eric Champion talks to Tyrell Harris, his setup reliever for Dakota Watts, trying to inspire him in this inning here against the Laredo Lemurs, bottom of the eighth. And now Byron Wiley is the batter. 18 pitches for Tyrell Harris in this inning so far, getting only one out. Byron Wiley tonight, 1 for 3, a single and 2 strikeouts. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Runner on first and second. Only one out in this bottom of the eighth inning. The tying run for Laredo is at first base. Harris with the first pitch to Wiley. It is just outside for ball one on the fastball. Harris just an ERA of 3.90 in 23 appearances with the Airhogs this year. The 1-0 swung on and missed. Little foul tip, actually, from Byron Wiley on that pitch from Harris. It did find the mid of Peterson for strike one. Lemurs out hitting Grand Prairie 9-7, but the Airhogs up 3-1 in runs. 2 errors for Laredo, 1 for Grand Prairie. 1-1 pitch on the way from Harris. In the dirt, blocked by Peterson. Not going are the runners. And it's 2-1 to Wiley. On deck for Laredo, Carlos Ramirez. 1 out. Runners on first and second base. Airhogs with a win tonight would close the gap between them and Laredo in the wild card race. Right now the gap is 10 games. Playoffs looking unlikely for Grand Prairie, but considering the run that they had last year to win the division, anything's really possible. Here comes the 2-1. It's upstairs from Harris, and it's ball 3. Wiley has struck out twice tonight against Danny Gutierrez, who grabbed 8 strikeouts in total in his 6 innings of work as the starter. Harris, the third pitcher used by Grand Prairie. 3-1 the count. Here it is, the 3-1 pitch. Inside, the bases will be loaded for Laredo with 1 out. Now the tying runner is in scoring position. After 2 straight walks by Tyrell Harris, and Eric Champion will make the move this time as he walks out to the dugout once again. So the Airhogs will go back to the pen as Harris can't get out of the 8th inning. Bases loaded, 1 out. Airhogs 3, Laredo 1. Here at Unitrade Stadium in Laredo, Texas. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Bases loaded and 1 out for Laredo in the bottom of the 8th. 3-1 lead for the Airhogs. In now to pitch is the left-hander, Bennett Whitmore. who has the best ERA on the Airhogs pitching staff at 1.85 in 24 and a third innings pitched this year, making his 20th appearance in an Airhogs uniform, has a record of 1-1, and is the only left-handed pitcher on this staff for Grand Prairie. 26 years old, played for Traverse City in 2012 and most recently in the Pacific Coast League. Trying to get 2 outs here in this bottom of the 8th with bases loaded and only 1 out. Tyrell Harris could not get out of this 8th inning, only pitching 1/3 of an inning. So far, no runs allowed on 1 hit, 2 walks, and a strikeout, but he's responsible for all 3 runners on base. So if any one of them score, he will be charged with those runs here in this 8th inning. So Whitmore trying to keep Laredo scoreless here in the 8th with the Airhogs up by a couple of runs. The tying run is in scoring position for Laredo. The batter for Laredo is the catcher, Carlos Ramirez. Ramirez tonight is 0 for 3. Last time up, he flew out to center field on a line drive, caught by Eric Baker on a diving catch. First pitch from Whitmore in the dirt, and it's scooped up by Peterson going to his left side. Nice play by Peterson behind the dish to keep the runners where they're at. And it's ball 1 to Ramirez. Whitmore does have some professional experience, but he's listed as a rookie on the roster for Grand Prairie due to the roster rules in the American Association. 1-0 pitch on the way to Ramirez. That's called strike 1, a curveball there. And it's 1-1 to Carlos Ramirez, the catcher. 26 years old from Tucson, Arizona, former member of the Los Angeles Angels minor league system. 1-1 pitch on the way from Whitmore. Bounced on the ground, foul down the third base line, and it's now 1-2. On deck is Kyle Brandenburg. Ramirez is a right-handed batter, Whitmore a left-handed pitcher, so it's interesting to see Eric Champion go with the left-hander here against the right-handed batter and then a switch hitter up after him. But Whitmore has been in these situations before and has been quite reliable. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The pitch is on the way to Ramirez. Bounced on the ground, foul once again. Down the third base line, and that looked to be a little closer this time. Still 1-2 to Carlos Ramirez. Bases loaded, 1 out. Airhogs up by a couple of runs here in the bottom of the 8th inning on the road here in Laredo. First game of this 3-game set. Whitmore set at the letters. Now delivers the 1-2 pitch to Ramirez. Popped high in the air on the right side. It's going foul. And out of play here at Unitrade Stadium. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ramirez, who has 5 home runs and 31 runs driven in 58 games with Laredo this season. With the bases loaded, Carlos Ramirez is 2 for 6 this year. He does have 1 grand slam. Bases loaded, 1 out. Airhogs up by a couple of runs. Here's the pitch from Whitmore on the 1-2. Lined foul down the third base line, and that was dangerously close this time, as it was just outside the third base bag. And still alive at 1-2 is Carlos Ramirez. Airhogs are 7-7 against Laredo this year. That's the same record that they had against them last year. 1-2 pitch on the way from Whitmore. Breaking ball, popped high in the air and foul. Over the roof at Unitrade Stadium, and that is the 5th straight pitch that Ramirez has fouled off from Whitmore. The 8th pitch of the at-bat is upcoming. Runners at every base, and only 1 out in the bottom of the 8th inning. Airhogs 3, Laredo 1. Pitch from Whitmore in the dirt this time on the breaking ball, and that moves the count to 2-2. Kyle Brandenburg on deck. Bennett Whitmore, the best ERA on the Airhogs pitching staff, trying to get out of this jam here in the 8th. The 2-2. That is lined a long way into left. Going towards the foul pole. Is it fair? No, it is called foul by home plate umpire Brian Child. And man, was that close to a grand slam by Carlos Ramirez. To be completely honest, I didn't get a good view at it in left field here on the third base line from my place in the broadcast booth. But Ramirez was just that close to getting a grand slam. Now the 2-2 is upcoming from Whitmore. That is lined into right field, and it is not caught by Frazier Hall. Scoring is Alonso, and staying at third base is Goodwin. Frazier Hall slid on the grass out there in the outfield, and right now is bending over, trying to readjust his baseball pants there, but that is a run scoring for the Lemurs on an RBI single by Carlos Ramirez into right field. It is 3-2 now. Airhogs still on top. The bases are still loaded with one out. And the 9-hitter Kyle Brandenburg will bat. Brandenburg is 1 for 3 tonight with a single in the 7th inning. Switch hitter batting righty against the left-hander Whitmore. First pitch is low in the dirt for ball 1. So a big moment here for Kyle Brandenburg as time is called by Brian Peterson as he goes out to talk to Whitmore. Brandenburg, so far this season with Laredo, as I look at his stats, he has come up 3 times this year with the bases loaded, and he's 0 for 3. He's also 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Tying run is at third now. Go-ahead run is at second for Laredo. 1-0 pitch is popped high in the air, and it goes foul down the left side. It will find the seats on strike 1. Brandenburg, so far in his professional career, is 3 for 22 in his at-bats. All 3 of his base hits have come against the Airhogs. 1-1 pitch is now on the way from Whitmore. That is lined deep into center field. Going to catch it on the run is Baker. He makes the catch. Tagging and trying to score now is Goodwin, and he will do so. And we're tied at 3 here in the 8th, as Wiley also goes up a bag from second to third. It's now 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th inning, but Laredo has crossed 2 runs over the plate to tie it up at 3 apiece here at Unitrade Stadium. Sacrifice fly there by Kyle Brandenburg. Now it's runners at the corners for Nick Van Straten. Van Straten tonight is 0 for 4. Last time up, he grounded out to second base. Runners at the corners. And now 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning. Go-ahead runners at third base for Laredo. First pitch to Van Straten, breaking ball taken for strike 1. So those 2 runs are charged to Tyrell Harris, and he would also be responsible for Byron Wiley at third base if he were to score. 0-1 pitch to Van Straten, driven in the air to left field, shallow left, charging in Abel Nieves, and he overestimated there on the shallow fly ball, and he dropped it in left. And a run scores. The Laredo Lemurs take the lead 4-3. Abel Nieves charged in too far in left field as it carried over his head and off of his glove in left, and that is a costly, costly mistake by Abel Nieves, who had just shifted from third to left field after the injury to Madison Carter. So now it's runners at second and third base on the miscue. And the Lemurs now lead 4-3 here in the 8th. Next batter, Dennis Phipps. It'll be an error charged to Abel Nieves on the play as Whitmore delivers to Phipps. It's outside for ball 1. Phipps tonight 2 for 4. with a couple of singles. So an E7 by Abel Nieves in left. And that scores Byron Wiley and moves Ramirez to third base. That's swung on and missed by Phipps there. A ball and a strike. The count. Phipps is the 8th batter of the inning here in the 8th inning at Unitrade Stadium. Now 4 runs on 10 hits for the Lemurs in this game. 3 runs on 7 hits for the Airhogs, and now 2 errors for each team. A ball and a strike. Whitmore delivers to Phipps. Taken low on the breaking pitch. That's ball 2. So Harris, once again, will get all 3 runs that have scored in this 8th inning, as he left all 3 of those base runners on the base pads after leaving. That is swung on and foul tipped into the screen by Phipps. An even count once again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. On deck is the 3-hitter Travis Denker. Airhogs now trailing 4-3 in this bottom of the 8th inning, after 3 runs by the Lemurs. 4-3 is the lead for Laredo as the pitch comes to Phipps. That is just outside on the curveball from Whitmore. And it's now a full count to the native of the Dominican Republic. Runners on second and third and 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. And now Laredo wants to try and get some insurance runs before going to the 9th inning against the Airhogs. The 3-2 pitch is bounced slowly on the ground to third base. Charging in Burns. A throw to first is not in time as Botts was taken off of the bag. The throw was just a little bit to the left side of Jason Botts, and he had to try and stop it. But he was taken off the bag, and another run scores for Laredo. That may be a throwing error to Matthew Burns on that play to first base. Hasn't been shown on the board yet. And the next batter is Travis Denker, 9th batter of this inning. Denker tonight is 1 for 4. Whitmore delivers the first pitch, and it's called strike 1 on the inside edge. So now 4 runs for Laredo in the 8th to take a 5-3 lead. And it is a base hit for Laredo. Base hit for Dennis Phipps, I should say, on that last play to Matthew Burns. The next pitch is swung on and missed by Denker. He's behind 0-2 in the count. So Laredo batting around in this 8th inning to take the lead 5-3. Runners at the corners, 2 outs. No balls and 2 strikes to Denker. Whitmore with the pitch, and it is lined in the air, going to drift foul down the right field side. And it's still 0-2. On deck is John Alonso, who led off this inning with a single. Bennett Whitmore will be charged with that last run that scored. Carlos Ramirez was the batter that he allowed a single to when he first came in. Whitmore now set for the 0-2 pitch to Denker. Here it is. That is lined through the hole into left field, and Van Straten will score easily. It is 6-3 Lemurs. RBI single for Travis Denker. That now gives him 75 RBIs this season. And now the 10th batter of the inning, John Alonso, will come back to the batter's box in this 8th. Alonso once again led off this 8th inning with a single and scored later in the inning. 2 for 4 tonight with a double and a single. Whitmore slips on the pitcher's mound, and it is low in the dirt for ball 1. As he was delivering to the plate, he slipped on his right foot there as he finished his follow-through, and now he's kicking the dirt around in front of the pitcher's rubber. It is 1-0 the count to John Alonso, the first baseman. Runners on first and second base. 2 away here in the 8th. Whitmore with the next pitch. It's in there for called strike 1. A ball and a strike to John Alonso, the cleanup hitter. Airhogs giving up 5 runs so far on 4 hits and 1 error in this bottom of the 8th. That pitch is low to Alonso, 2-1 the count. J.P. Ramirez on deck. Whitmore looks at second base where Phipps is leading off. The 2-1 is hit deep into left center field. Going back, Baker. He looks over his head, bounces off the wall. 1 run scores. Rounding third is Denker. The throw is not going to come to home plate as Nunez tried to get the runner at second base. And that's a 2-run RBI double for John Alonso. Score is now 8-3 Lemurs in the 8th inning. 7 runs in this 8th to take a 5-run lead here at their home stadium. Alonso with his second double of the night. This one drives in 2 runs. As the Airhogs suddenly find themselves in a big hole. Whitmore next will face J.P. Ramirez. He's 1 for 4 tonight. Got a single way back in the second inning. Next pitch is driven foul down the left field side. 0-1 the count now to J.P. Ramirez, the DH. So a runner on second and still 2 outs. In the 8th inning, Tyrell Harris started off this 8th. Only lasted against 4 batters and charged with 3 runs. Next pitch driven up the middle into center field, a base hit. Stopping at third is Alonso. And the inning continues for Laredo. Runners at the corners, 2 gone. And the things are falling apart here for the Airhogs as Eric Champion comes out from the dugout once again to talk with Bennett Whitmore and possibly to take him out. And he will make a move to the bullpen. The second time this inning that the Airhogs have switched pitchers. So runners at the corners. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th, and the Airhogs are now down 8-3 against Laredo. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Bottom of the 8th inning still at Unitrade Stadium. Laredo is now up 8-3 on the Airhogs, and this will be the 3rd pitcher of the inning and the 5th of the game for Grand Prairie. Tobin Matejcek, the rookie, is out of the pen. Matejcek turns 24 years old tomorrow and will be in to face Devin Goodwin in this bottom of the 8th with runners at the corners and 2 outs. Matejcek now is set, and here comes the first pitch to Goodwin. Hit high in the air to deep left center field. Chasing it is Baker, and he stops running as this one leaves the park. A 3-run shot by Devin Goodwin, and this one has blown wide open in the bottom of the 8th inning. It is 11-3. The Lemurs on top at home. Goodwin with home run number 15 on the season. And that one went over the wall in left center field. And that might just be the dagger for the Airhogs in this first game of the 3-game set. That's now a total of 10 runs in this 8th inning by the Lemurs as ball 1 is delivered outside to the next batter, Byron Wiley. Now the 1-0 pitch popped high in the air, foul down the left side. Wiley tonight is 1 for 3. Scored a run earlier in this 8th inning after drawing a walk. So the Airhogs now down 11-3 in this bottom of the 8th. They started out this 8th inning leading by a score of 3-1. Pitch is low to Wiley, 2-1 the count now. Matejcek delivers home. It's popped foul behind the screen once again. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wiley is the 13th batter of this inning. Carlos Ramirez on deck with 2 outs and nobody on base. Airhogs now being out hit 15-7 and outscored 11-3. Inside to Wiley, and it's now a full count. Ten runs on 7 hits for the Lemurs in this 8th inning as the next pitch is bounced off of the foot of Byron Wiley, and he's now walking gingerly on that right foot after the foul ball came straight off his bat and straight down onto his cleat there, and it's still 3-2. 10 runs on 7 hits, 1 error for the Airhogs in this 8th inning here, and it probably would have been out number 3 if it weren't for the error by Abel Nieves in left. Overjudged the shallow fly ball in left field as the 3-2 comes, and it's high for ball 4. Third walk of the game by Airhogs pitching in this inning. And another base runner for Laredo as Tobin Matejcek first allows a home run and then walks the next batter. Matejcek came into this game with an 8.31 ERA, making his 14th appearance. Has a record of 1-1 in his first professional year. Carlos Ramirez will bat now for Laredo. Here's the pitch from Matejcek. It's on the outside edge for called strike 1. Ramirez tonight is 1 for 4. Earlier on in this 8th inning, he got an RBI single with the bases loaded and later scored. That's outside, or actually that's swung on and missed by Ramirez. 0-2 the count to the catcher. 10 runs in this inning for Laredo, who are the best hitting team in the league, batting .306 as a squad. Matejcek with the pitch home. The 0-2 is right back to the pitcher's mound. He knocks it down. A short toss to first base, and that will finally end this 8th inning. But not after 10 runs on 7 hits, 1 error, and 1 man left on base by Laredo. So now we go to the 9th inning, and the score is 11-3. Lemurs on top here at home. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Top of the ninth inning now in Laredo, and for the Airhogs, this game has gone from them leading to them not having any chance to win in just a matter of half an inning. They do have a small chance, but they have to overcome an 8-run deficit now. 11-3 is the lead for Laredo after 10 runs in the bottom of the 8th. Mike Shreves, who came in for the 8th inning, will now be given this 9th. He sat down the Airhogs 1-2-3 in the 8th. First batter he faces is Brian Peterson. Peterson looks at ball 1 a little bit low over the plate. Peterson tonight is 1 for 3 with a single in the 6th inning. Frazier Hall and Matthew Burns are due up after him. Next pitch is called strike 1, lower end of the zone, worked by Mike Shreves. And it's 1-1 the count. Brian Peterson facing off against his former club. Played for them last year and batted .305 as the starting catcher. 1-1 pitch is inside from Mike Shreves, the rookie reliever from the University of Montevideo. An unbelievably explosive inning for Laredo in the bottom of the 8th to take an 11-3 lead. Next pitch, chopped on the ground to the left side. Brandenburg gets it out of his glove and then goes to first and just gets the out on Brian Peterson. A nice play by the rookie Brandenburg, charging in from his position at third to field it just near the infield grass. Almost lost it out of his glove, but was able to get the throw over to first in time, and that's out number 1. So the next batter is Frazier Hall. 2 strikeouts and a walk tonight for Frazier. He also scored a run in this 7th inning. He looks at strike 1 on the low and outside corner from Mike Shreves. 0-1 against the left-handed batter Hall. Now the right-handed reliever Shreves is set for the 0-1 pitch, and it's a breaking ball in the inside edge of the plate there for called strike 2. Matthew Burns on deck for the Airhogs. 1 out, nobody on base in the top of the 9th. And it's an 8-run deficit that the Airhogs will have to overcome if they want any chance. This is hit a long way into right field. And going way back, it is going to leave the park, and Frazier Hall has gone deep to right field. Frazier Hall with his 7th home run of the season, and it is a very tough task to try and drive a long ball into right field, but Frazier Hall has done that. With the wind blowing from right to left, Frazier Hall defies the odds and shrinks the lead by a little bit. It is now 11-4 Laredo, but a big hit there from Frazier Hall for his 7th long ball of the season. First base hit of the night for him, and it's a big one. Solo home run to right field here in a right-handed power hitter friendly park as the next pitch is slowly bounced foul by Matthew Burns. Burns had his first professional home run in the Airhogs' previous game on Sunday. That was against the Amarillo Sox, and that 2-run home run proved to be the difference maker in the Airhogs' 4-2 victory. 0-1 pitch to Burns is taken for called strike 2 on the outside corner. Burns came in the 7th inning to play third base, comes into Madison Carter's spot in the lineup. Carter injured in this game after colliding with home plate, or with the catcher Carlos Ramirez at a play at the plate in the 7th. That's swung on and missed by Burns. He will strike out on 3 pitches by Mike Shreves, 2 down in the 9th. So now 2 outs, nobody on base, and the batter will be Eric Baker, the 9-hitter. Baker 1 for 2, a single in the 5th, laid down a sacrifice bunt in the 7th. Right-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Shreves set from the stretch, and the pitch comes to the plate. Bounces in front of home plate that time, and it's ball 1. Shreves is only the 3rd pitcher used by Pete Incaviglia in the game. Josh Strawn worked 6 innings, Weissman worked the 7th, and now Shreves trying to finish off 2 complete innings against the Airhogs as he delivers strike 1 on the outside edge to Baker. A ball and a strike now to the rookie center fielder, who has made an unbelievable catch in this game into shallow center field, diving on the full stretch. Another breaking ball in the dirt by Shreves, and it's 2-1. Well, the Airhogs will have Trevor Hardin go tomorrow against Laredo, and Laredo will counter with Michael Suk. So that's your pitching matchup for tomorrow night's game. The 2-1 pitch is on the ground to shortstop. Goodwin with the play and the throw to first, and that ends the game. So Laredo turns things around in the bottom of the 8th with 10 runs in 1/2 inning to overcome not just overcome the 2-run deficit that Grand Prairie had for most of this game, but to earn a blowout victory here at their home stadium. 11-4 is the final score in the Laredo Lemurs opening victory here at Unitrade Stadium in the first game of this 3-game set here in Laredo. Your winning pitcher in tonight's game is Mike Shreves, throwing two innings, not scoreless, only 1 run allowed on 1 hit by Frazier Hall, the solo home run in the 9th. But he does get 1 strikeout in his relief appearance, and he moves his record to 4-3 on the season. The loss will go to Tyrell Harris, who pitched in the 8th inning. His record moves to 4-4 on the year. Airhogs are now 11 games back of Laredo in the wild card race, and it seems to be much tougher now to try and get themselves into the playoff picture as they drop their record to 36-44 on the season in game number 80 of the year. And Laredo improves to 44-36 on the year with the victory. So let's look at your final lines for tonight's game. The Laredo Lemurs score 11 runs on 15 hits. They commit 2 errors. The Airhogs 4 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors for them as well. It's a loss in the opening game of the road trip for the Airhogs against Laredo. 11-4 is the final score here at Unitrade Stadium. You're listening. Thank you for tuning in to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball live on Ustream. Tomorrow we will have the second game of the 3-game set. Once again, your pitching matchup is Trevor Hardin for the Airhogs going up against the Lemurs' Michael Suk. So a couple of right-handers for you tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. That's our scheduled first pitch for the second game of this 3-game set here in Laredo. So once again, your final score, the Laredo Lemurs 11, the Grand Prairie Airhogs 4. Thank you for tuning in to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball live on Ustream. We will see you tomorrow. First pitch at 7:30 p.m. Until then, I'm Andy Humphrey. So long from Laredo, Texas. You've been listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. We'll see you next time, everyone.